In one of the most controversial episodes of the 2025-26 UEFA Champions League, Benfica winger Gianluca Prestianni has been provisionally suspended by UEFA following allegations of racial abuse directed at Real Madrid's Brazilian star Vinícius Jr. during the first-leg playoff match between the two clubs in Lisbon. The incident occurred on February 17 at the Estadio de Luz in a tightly contested encounter. After Vinícius scored the only goal of the game and celebrated in front of the home supporters, a heated confrontation followed between the Real Madrid forward and Prestianni. Television footage captured the Argentine covering his mouth with his shirt and speaking to Vinícius, who immediately reported to the match officials that he had been the target of a racist insult. Referee François Letexier then invoked FIFA's anti-racism protocol, crossing his arms to halt the match, and the game was stopped for nearly 10 minutes while officials consulted VAR and reviewed the situation. Play eventually resumed, and Real Madrid held on for a 1-0 victory. In response, UEFA's Control, Ethics and Disciplinary Body, CEDB, appointed an Ethics and Disciplinary Inspector, EDI, to investigate these allegations of discriminatory behavior under Article 14 of the UEFA disciplinary regulations. Based on an interim report, the CEDB provisionally suspended Prestianni for one match, meaning he will miss Benfica's critical second-leg fixture against Real Madrid in the Santiago Bernabéu. UEFA has emphasized that this suspension is provisional and, without prejudice, to any final ruling once the full disciplinary process is complete. If Prestianni is ultimately found guilty of racially abusive conduct, he could face a much more severe ban, reportedly a minimum of 10 matches, from UEFA competitions. Prestianni himself has consistently denied the racial abuse accusation, asserting that Vinícius misunderstood what was said. In his own social media statement, he said he was never racist with anyone and suggested that the allegation stemmed from a misunderstanding of his words during the tense moment on the pitch. The controversy has quickly escalated beyond a typical on-field clash, igniting fresh debates about racism, officiating protocols, and European football culture. On the pitch, the tension did not end with the final whistle. Several Real Madrid players, including high-profile names, publicly defended Vinícius and condemned what they described as racist behavior. French striker Kylian Mbappé, for example, openly stated that Prestianni should never play in the Champions League again, comments that underline the seriousness with which the incident has been viewed by peers. Off the pitch, anti-racism groups and football commentators have expressed frustration with how the situation was handled during the match and with the sensitivity of referees and governing bodies to allegations of discriminatory abuse. Many see the incident as another alarming sign that racism in football, despite extensive campaigns and protocols, remains a persistent and unresolved problem. Real Madrid's supporters and sections of the broader football public have also criticized what they see as inadequacies in on-field protections for players targeted by discriminatory remarks. Vinícius himself responded on social media after the first leg, condemning racists as cowards, a comment that highlighted both his personal experience and the broader context of repeated abuse he has endured throughout his career. At the same time, some commentators and fans have questioned whether UEFA's disciplinary process, particularly the timing and substance of provisional suspensions, strikes the right balance between protecting players and respecting due process. The decision to suspend Prestianni before the investigation concludes has itself become a subject of debate in football circles. Amid this swirling controversy, Benfica has been vocal in its defense of Prestianni and its criticism of UEFA's provisional suspension. The club issued an official statement expressing disappointment that its player would be sidelined while the disciplinary process remains in progress. Benfica confirmed it would appeal UEFA's decision, even though it acknowledged that appeals might have limited practical impact given the tight Champions League schedule. The statement also reiterated the club's commitment to fighting all forms of racism and discrimination, citing these values as part of its historical identity and everyday work, including through its foundation and community initiatives. In addition to the club's formal communiqué, Benfica president Rui Costa broke his silence on the situation, making clear public remarks that framed UEFA's action as unjust given the ongoing nature of the investigation and the absence of conclusive proof. Speaking on the eve of Benfica's departure to Madrid, Costa emphasized his confidence in Prestianni's character, stating that the player is anything but racist and that Benfica fully supported him. Costa also highlighted a separate on-field incident involving Real Madrid midfielder Federico Valverde, which Benfica had reported to UEFA as an act of aggression, but which was not sanctioned, arguing that disciplinary consistency was essential. According to the president, while the Valverde situation should not be used to negate the Prestianni case, it nonetheless underscored what the club saw as uneven treatment by UEFA. Finally, Costa reiterated that Benfica remains committed to its broader values and to combating discrimination, even as it vigorously defends its player during this unresolved disciplinary matter.